and John Smolen worked with him, and he would like to tell you guys some stuff.
Thank you. Well, anyway, it was October 15th, 1969 when I first went to work at the county engineer's office. And of course, Duane was there at that time, you know, and of course, enjoyed working with him all those years. What Duane did back then for the county engineer, and Dave Weir was the county engineer, not me at that time. But Duane supervised contract construction for the county engineer, and then if he wasn't busy with that, he would work on the tax maps, which tax maps are the maps that the county auditor has of all of our properties. And they have to be kept up daily as people sell their property and all that. And Duane was always repairing the maps, you know, with fixing the corners, or if the sheets are messed up or overused, he would do new sheets. But one thing about Duane, he was like the perfect employee. He kept himself busy, and managers just loved that when employees, if they don't have anything to do, they find something to do. And that was Duane. And then the other curious thing in the engineer's office at that time, there were 4 of us that had birthdays in July, and we were all 10 years apart. So I know Duane would have been 86. There was me, Tim, come on, John, help me out, the surveyor. Where are you?
Oh, Bob Peters?
No, the other one.
Westfall.
No, Tim Westfall, yeah. I get that once in a while, sorry. And then
He joined the crowd.
and then Duane, and then Arnold Brenneman, and he would have been 96. He was alive. I'm the only one left. But, anyway, so that's how I know the birthdays. But anyway, then it's curious that we're in this bridge, because my memory goes back. See, Dave Weir, at that time, there was somewhat of an attitude, I don't want to say get rid of the covered bridges, but like this one, it was a high vehicle went through this. It used to be over there, over the river, and a high vehicle went through and smashed up this upper bracing, but it's been repaired. And so the thought was at that time to, the neighbors donated this 1 acre of land here where we're standing to become part of the county metropolitan park system. And so then a gentleman was hired to move the bridge from over there to over here. And of course we had to build these supports under the bridge. But Duane, I remember Duane photographed it extensively, and of course he had been in charge of the construction of moving the bridge. Because at that time we were trying to get traffic off of the covered bridges. That was the thinking in the 70s. We're talking, I think this was moved in 1971. But that was the thinking. Then South Denmark Road, build a bypass. Wiswell Road, build a bypass. Trying to think of the other ones that were, the other thing I wanted to get at is there were 3 people that influenced me to save these covered bridges. One of them was Arnold Brenneman, Duane Burgett, and Dave Payne. But the one that really influenced me to save covered bridges was Duane Burgett. He didn't yell at me, we got to save, or say anything. It was just his attitude. The photographs, the covered bridge calendars, and it just made me realize that, well, hey, the public wants to save covered bridges. So that's what we did. Rehabbing and keeping all of the covered bridges in good condition. County had a covered bridge crew that repaired covered bridges, but it was Duane's influence. And I kind of realized that later, but that's who influenced me to save covered bridges, along with Arnold Brenneman, who would flat out tell me, we got to save them, John. It's going to be a tourist attraction here someday. And it turned out that way. But anyway, I'm trying to think what I missed here for the bridge. But anyway, Yeah, anyway, but one thing about Duane, he was just a genuine good guy, morally in every which way. If everybody was like Duane, the world would be a heck of a lot better place. And the only thing I can say is, Duane, we all miss you, our friend, our good friend. So that's about all I have to say. We miss Duane. I stop by and see his grave now and then. And as far as people that died, when he died, I mean, I got an emotional problem. So, but anyway, it affected me more than anybody else that died other than family. I want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I gotta say, anyway, John's my former boss and one of the best guys you could work for. And before I came to work in county, I used to go on the survey. I'm a surveyor.
Yeah.
And I'd go out there and survey vault. And if I ever had a problem or needed anything, then you went to Duane. And like Johnny said, he was meticulous on all his record keeping. He taught me so much. And the thing I really liked, I still look back at it, his handwriting was so perfect. And
Yeah, that's true.
girls can probably vouch for that. I don't know where they got that craft from, but he was fantastic. He did tell me one thing though. He said, when you get married, Jim, he says, don't get a big house. Because you're collecting too much. But I still to this day, I go through the records and it's just phenomenal how well Duane's kept everything. I try to at least keep his tradition. Because people come from outside the county to Ashtabula County, and they just see the records we have that Duane was really instrumental in keeping. And we're just so far ahead of all the other counties' records.
Okay, yeah.
If anybody wants to say anything else, family-wise, you guys want to say anything, feel free.
Well, he worked at the auditor's office when I worked at the treasurer's office, Duane did. And if I had a question about somebody's property, I would go in and ask him. And I thought, well, never mind, we'll write to them. And a few minutes later, he'd be back with the information I wanted. That's how good he was.
When I was teaching and social studies and wanted maps, and I could go to Duane and he could give me maps, and my kids, my students learned about Ashtabula County through Duane and those maps, and we loved them.
Yes.
Yeah, certainly.
Always helpful.
After Helen passed away, Bob asked if anybody wanted to go through all their slides. So my husband and I did. And it was a ball, and all the covered bridges and Buttermilk Falls. Someday I'm going to find it. I don't know where it's at, but I'm going to find it.
Well, that's up the north end of State Road, the waterfalls.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's the new State Road covered bridge?
Yeah, but you go north of 84. Well, it's the same road here, but it turns into State Road, and then
Right.
you kind of go up around by some hills, and then it's the waterfall off on our left.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he's referring to.
I mean, it was such